Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today here at K2 Motorcars in Florida, surrounded by the most extraordinary display of cars, which today I'm lucky enough to visit and bring you along as well to go for a full tour. K2 Motorcars are responsible for collection management, car storage and consignment, and inside this hall we have everything from 1960s Ferraris and a Ford GT40 that raced in the famous 1966 24 Hours of Le Mans, all the way through to modern hypercars like the Pagani Huayras, via everything else along the way, classic cars, resto mods, supercars, everything you could want to see. I'm going to do my best to show you and name as many cars as I can, but let's go and explore here at K2 Motorcars. Believe me when I say that this is one of the most incredible lineups of cars that I have ever seen in my entire life. The sheer variety from the modern hypercars all the way back over this side, the 1960s Ferraris, and so much more. It is a huge thanks to K2 Motorcars for the opportunity to visit and to bring you along while I endeavour to show you as many of the different cars as I possibly can in this tremendous display. And I think the variety is summarised very nicely by the two cars sitting side by side right here. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Roadster from the 1950s and the modern day Pagani Huayra Roadster. But there is so much to see, and I'm going to begin over back on this side with the very unusual spec on this Lamborghini Countach, the LP400S in the green with the cream interior. Behind that, a hugely significant Ferrari, the 275 GTB Competizione from the 1960s, one of only 12 in the world. I think probably no more is needed, but also a bit of a Ford versus Ferrari going on. We'll come to the GT40 in a moment. Here we have a 1934 Alfa Romeo 8C 2300. Next to that, a 1960s Myers Manx, the original dune buggy. We've got the Porsche Carrera RS 2.7 from 1973, but that GT40 needs a few words. This was a car that actually took part in the famous race back in 1966 where Ford had 1, 2 and 3 on the podium. This car was actually the pole position car, but unfortunately during the race it did have to retire after about 17 hours, so it didn't make that final podium position, but still something truly spectacular. If we come back through here, we've got a 1980s backdate Porsche 911 as well. We've got a Ferrari 250 Pininfarina convertible. I have been lucky enough to drive a 250 Pininfarina coupe, but this stunning as well. Behind it, one of the ultimate legends, the Ferrari 250 California Spyder, and this was actually one of the prototypes, so a few differences from the final production cars, but it needs again very little further explanation. Behind that, a Jaguar E-Type. We've got an E92 BMW M3. We've got a Cobra continuation, which is the only one for which the panels were actually made using the original equipment as opposed to the more modern day counterparts. We've got a 911 Turbo, we've got an Aston Martin Vanquish Volante, we've got two Mustangs behind that, we've got the GT350 Hertz, actually the Hertz body for the rental cars, which they've done more recently as well in the, I think, previous generation Mustang at the back. We've also got a Mustang convertible, we've got a Porsche 356 1600 Super, we've got a BMW 440i, we've got a BMW M6. Over in Europe, these were the M635 CSIs, but this is badged as the M6. We've got a 1980s 911 Resto mod, we've got a BMW 1M, and I'm going to squeeze back here as well to show you the pair of yellow Porsches. We've got a GT2 on the left, and we've got an RS Club Sport over on the right. We've got a BMW Z8 with Alpina wheels. We've got another 911. This is actually from 1973, Magnus Walker Urban Outlaw mod car as well. We've got a Porsche 718 Cayman GT4. It's just mind-boggling. We've got a Targa 911 convertible. We've got a GT2 at the back, another different 911. We've got a 997 GT3 RS. We've got a 991 Turbo S convertible, a GT3. We've got an SL65 AMG Black Series tucked back there. The Corvette Z06. We've got a 911 Speedster. We've got a GT3 Touring, and all three of these are in crayon or chalk as well, the paint color. We've got a Bentley Continental GT. We've got another Corvette convertible. We've got a Corvette Grand Sport. I really enjoyed driving the Grand Sport actually. Behind that, we've got, what do we have? The C3. We've got a Maserati Gran Turismo. We've got a Ford Fairlane, Ford GT, I think previous generation GT350. Aston Martin Vanquish, legendary Bond car, Camaro Z28, 2 more Corvettes, C2, C3. We've got lots of different project cars, resto mods, some BMWs, Mercedes. In fact, I'm going to squeeze through. This is a 635 CSI. Actually, look back here. This is cool. Let's come straight through to the Diablo Evolution. Have you ever seen something like that? The flip paintwork all over the body. Look at the way this is made with the mirror arms. Look at the interior to match the 2 different colors from the flip paint, even the tinted carbon that it has. That's pretty crazy. We've then got a set of different AMGs, various different E-Class models. If we squeeze through, we've got the S600 here, which actually has that famous engine from the Pagani Zonda, and obviously I'm not ignoring the Diablo SVR as well, one of 30 odd or so of the race car versions of the Diablo. This is just absolute heaven. The Bentley, the Cobra, Eldorado just here, Panamera, Phantom, Drophead. We've even got this beautiful Volkswagen bus. This has been fully restored, looks immaculate, stunning thing. We've got a boat in storage as well here at K2 Motorcars. I mean, that is just one half of this amazing display, but already truly breathtaking. Coming over to this side, 2 Morgan Aero Super Sports, and at the back, a little Morgan 3-wheeler. I'm not sure how many of you remember back when I had a 3-wheeler. So much fun to drive the little Morgan 3-wheeler. The Harley engine that it has, lots of power all through that one single wheel sitting beneath you at the rear. Very happy to slide around and be quite entertaining. We've got a 981 Boxster Spyder. We've got a Ferrari F8 Spyder as well, DB5 Volante, S550 convertible, AMG GTS convertible, then some very nice McLarens, the 675 LT Spyder, all actually in Volcano Red. So we're going to go and take a look at that in a moment. The 600 LT just here with the roof snorkel. Come through to this, some nice MSO options, including having that front section with the vents, which is normally left in the exposed carbon, finished in the paint as well, and also up here too, even the roof snorkel and that T-section between the glass of the canopy. But a very, very cool McLaren track focus trio, all in the matching paint colors. The Polaris buggy, we've got some bikes, Cobra, we've got a 356 Speedster, another Speedster I think, or I'm not even entirely sure what else we've got. A few more 911s in that line. We've got the SLS AMG, original SLS Roadster. We've got, that's actually an Alpina Z8, a CLK 63 Black Series, Vantage Volante from the 80s, Ferrari Pista. I like the navy blue stripes against the silver paintwork. More 911s, there are so many different 911s. What else do we have? 488 GTB, 355 Spyder, Pista Spyder, 550 Maranello, 612. Come through here. I think you can probably guess what might be under there. We've got a Ferrari 599 GTO. I'm actually going to squeeze back out just for a moment and come round, because this gets really very special. Also, that paint colour's quite nice. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's Rosso Mugello. Looks really stunning. This is cool as well. The Panos Esperante GT Spyder. This is the only one of the 3 they made, 2 held by the factory. The only one that went before Panos, I think, really ceased. But yeah, one off basically. What else do we have behind? We'll get to the 2 Paganis. Come and have a look at what we've got here. This is a 275 Nart Spyder conversion. This is a 330 GTS. Then we've got an Aston Martin DB5 Volante, and then a 275 GTS. It's very confusing trying to work out the different Ferrari models and exactly what is what, but that is quite the display as I make my way carefully between the mirrors of the 2 Pagani Huayras. The Huayra Coupe, one of 100 in the silver, and the Huayra Roadster, again, one of 100, but this time in that deep metallic pearlescent red paintwork with the exposed carbon that you can see left visible all the way through. Of course, the complete carbon fiber body panels, and finally the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Roadster, which I think is probably the dream classic for me one day. It would be one of those, especially after the experiences driving the 300 SL Gullwing on the Mille Miglia. So That's quite something to take in. I have to come back over to these two for a moment. That legendary story back in the 1960s, Ford versus Ferrari, when Henry Ford took to the 24 Hours of Le Mans, adamant that he would beat Ferrari in the race, introducing the GT40, not having so much luck in the 1965 race, but come 1966, fielding a very strong grid with some big drivers behind the wheels of these cars and ultimately taking success. It's amazing though, when you look at this in a little bit more detail, the car is tiny, very, very compact, but the drivers stood back, sprinted to the cars, had to jump in as quickly as they could, and this car was driven by Dan Gurney and Jerry Grant. So this is actually called the Gurney Bubble because Dan was a little bit too tall to fit his helmet. But imagine climbing in as fast as you can, getting over the shifter, getting the car started and getting out onto the famous track to drive around for 24 hours, shifting between the drivers, and ultimately, unfortunately for this car, not making it towards the end, but for Ford, it was that 1-2-3 victory. You'll notice all of the cars here are actually plugged into the C-Tech battery conditioners, as I use at home as well, keeping all of the batteries fully charged up. And I noticed these as well because this car was over at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance when I was there as well in 2018. So I think I saw it back then, just part of this amazing display in here. 275 GTB Competizione, GT40, 250 California Spyder, 250 Pininfarina convertible, just breathtaking to the biggest possible degree. Back up at this end as well, have a better look at this VW bus. I mentioned it as we were going around, but this is immaculate. It is really cool. Imagine doing a tour across the country in one of those. That would be really, really quite good fun. It's also got the open roof at the moment. It's got these windows up top. Yeah, I quite like that. That would be really entertaining. A fun fact about this 300SL Roadster is that it's been fully restored by Mark Allen at Rare Drive, the same restorer as the 300SL Gullwing that I filmed recently when I was with my friends at the Triple F collection in Ohio. It is absolutely immaculate, a beautiful thing outside and in as well, as if it had just left the factory. This is a 1957, so the first year of the Roadsters that followed after the Gullwings. There were some big changes that had gone into it, a little bit more power, up about 60 horsepower towards 300, and a totally new rear axle, which means that it's actually a much better driving experience in the Roadster than it is in the Gullwing, which is why I think one of these for me is the absolute ultimate. I've been lucky to drive both the Roadster and the Gullwing before, and I just think it is such an icon and a beautiful, beautiful car as well. I think the biggest challenge here, theoretically speaking, if I was to give you the keys to one car here at K2 Motorcars, what would it be? Would you go for a drive in one of the classic Ferraris? Would it be one of the Porsches? Would it be one of the modern cars, for example, the Pagani Huayras? This would be a really tough choice. It's unusual to see such a large variety, as I said, of different cars all in one place. Often you'd see lots of modern supercars or lots of classics, but to see these cars, for example, the 250 PF and the 250 California, next to the likes of the Bugatti Chiron and the Pagani Huayras is just really, really quite a special opportunity. All kept ready to rock and roll as soon as the owners might want the cars to be ready to be taken on out. Everything is instantly off and ready to go. Super clean and tidy in here. As I mentioned, all of the cars plugged into the C-Tech trickle chargers as well. I have to say, I do quite like that, the BMW M6, which previously I wouldn't necessarily have suggested, but so many cars, and also some big plans from the guys for the future and their new storage facility as well that's going to be opening in the not too long a future from now. Just this is really, really quite incredible. Obviously you could talk for hours and hours about all of the different cars, going through every detail of every single thing, but alas, for now, just a quick visit here to K2 Motorcars to see this incredible paradise. I think that is the perfect definition of what we're looking at. So a huge thanks to the guys for making it possible. A huge thanks to everybody involved. This is absolute dreamland. Let me know though what you would choose if you could take something for a drive. That's it for now, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.